Okay, I just wanted to do a little lesson just a little example that I promised I would post, involving just your typical question of, for example, just using how sine of theta we defined as y over r, which used to be opposite over hypotenuse. Cos theta equals x over r, and tan theta, tangent, equals y over x. Now, this allows us to do quick questions like, for example, using the unit circle. If I have trying to do cosine of 270, I can see where 270 is. It comes to the y-axis. The point there is -0, -1. And that point 0, -1, its x-coordinate is x. So cosine being x over r, I would go 0. And with the unit circle, the radius is 1. So cos 270 is 0. So this allows you to get any, and these angles, 90, 180, 270, they're called quadrantal angles. They're in between quadrants. Now, when we have all these angles, any quadrantal angle, you can find them using this method. Find the point on unit circle where you are, and use the x or y coordinate. And that, of course, leads you to the special kind of situation of tangent of 90 or 270 is 1 over 0, because the point there is 0, 1, y over x, 1 over 0, which is undefined. So tangent is undefined at 90 and also at 270. Now, the question I wanted to do today is involving, for example, tangent. I can do tan of, do a slightly more advanced question, see if we can get through this one. Tan of theta equals -2/3. And we want to also specify here that sine theta is greater than 0. Now, sine theta being greater than 0 should lead us to the place where this angle should be, is in the second quadrant, because one of those values, tangent is y over x. I'm thinking that y would have to be 2, and x would have to be -3. Now, this is 2 over -3. So if sine theta is positive, that means, don't forget, sine is y over r, as we were discussing. If sine is y over r, its y value is would have to be the positive value, and the radius is always positive. That gives you a negative x value in this case. In order to solve this question, and we haven't even said what I'm solving for. We're asking if tan theta is -2/3, find. We don't have a question yet. Find cosine theta. Now, cosine theta is going to be, well, let's see, find cosine. Let's also find sine theta. Why not? So tan is -2/3, sine is positive. That takes us to the second quadrant. Now we're looking for cosine and sine. The first thing we need is the radius, and the radius is the hypotenuse, and r squared equals x squared plus y squared. R is always positive, and that takes you to 4 plus 9. In this case, r squared equals 13. R equals square root of 13. Okay, so if we are looking for cosine theta would be equal to -3x over the radius, which is root of 13. And sine theta, it better be positive, because that's what they told us it would be equal to 2 over square root of 13. And this could be the end of the question, if that's all they wanted, cosine and sine. A variation of this question would be find theta. And to find theta, we were talking about this in class, but it's just worth reminding you again, is theta, we need to find the reference angle first. And to do that, we should say, we'll call the reference angle, let's call it theta sub r. Tangent of that angle is equal to 2 over 3. Now notice how I dropped the negative sign. I just called it 2/3 because the reference angle is always going to be an angle from 0 to 90. It's going to be the angle right here that's closest to the x-axis. Your terminal arm is somewhere over here. Reference angle is whatever is left until you get to 180. And that's why I dropped the negative sign, because I'm just looking for the angle within that small triangle. So to find the reference angle, I do inverse tangent, or arctan, of 2/3, which, take my trusty little scientific here, and I go inverse tangent of brackets 2 over 3 and there it is. It tells me it's 33.7 degrees. Let's go 34 degrees, nearest degree in this case. I didn't specify. So then your angle, because it's in the second quadrant, if you go back to the picture here, 34 is right there. So then your angle is 180 minus 34, which is equal to, we're looking at what, 146 degrees. So again, your angle is 146 if they were asking for it. If the question is not looking for the angle, it's just the cosine or the sine ratio, which we leave in that form. Ratio means a fraction, so it's just the ratio of x over r or y over r, depending on what they're looking for. And that kind of summarizes a lot of what we'll be working on. And the quiz on Monday will cover a lot of that kind of work and understanding of the different ratios in for trig with angles in standard position.